Let's quickly check in KwaZulu-Natal, in Pietermaritzburg to be specific, at the High Court there. The High Court will shortly rule on former President Jacob Zuma's bid to stay out of jail. He brought the application on Tuesday, arguing that his arrest should be stayed until the Constitutional Court hears his rescission application next week. I believe we'll be joined by Siphamandla Goge in a moment, but also Dasen Thatiah, also tracking developments around protests in KwaZulu-Natal around this particular matter. So let me see if I can get both of you in before the judgment starts. Siphamandla, the judgment that we are expecting today, some are saying it's a bit moot, in that he's already in prison, is former President Jacob Zuma, but it still needs to be delivered nonetheless. The questions of law that have been put before Justice Mnguni need to be answered.
Indeed, and one of those will be the issue of jurisdiction. We expect that this judgment that will be handed down in 3 minutes from now will delve into and deal with the issue of jurisdiction. That's one of the arguments that were threshed out here in court when the former president applied to put on hold his pending arrest. At the time, we know that he's already behind bars. He's been incarcerated. So many people are saying the judge now will not be under pressure to rule on that because the deadline is lapsed. The former president has been arrested, is behind bars, but still this judgment will be very, very critical in terms of outlining and ruling on issues of jurisdiction. Remember, those who were criticizing the former president's legal team, they were arguing, why did they decide to come to the High Court KwaZulu-Natal Division sitting in Pietermaritzburg instead of going to the Constitutional Court, which is the one that handed down the judgment and found the former president guilty of contempt of court. So some are saying the former president's legal team wasted time, hence their last-minute effort to stay his arrest did not materialize. But nonetheless, the fact that the former president has been incarcerated doesn't take away from the fact that he brought this application here. The judge will have to rule on it, even though it will not make any sense because he's already behind bars. But still, it's a very crucial judgment that we are anticipating. Judge Mnguni is set to deliver it at 11:30.
Yeah, Siphamandla, stand by. Let me try and see if we can bring in Dasen Thatiah, who's been tracking protests around parts of KwaZulu-Natal. Dasen, the protests, we understand, are under the hashtag Free Jacob Zuma. Where are you and what have you observed in as far as those protests are concerned?
Well, we're in Empangeni, and ironically, I guess, it's also at a police event, and it's not far from here where one of those protests that you're talking about was actually taking place. It's as you enter Empangeni, there were vehicles that were blocking off an intersection there. Now, this is similar to some of the pictures that you would have been seeing from Durban and surrounds. There are also now reports coming in of disruptions on the N3, and as you rightfully said, these are supposedly under the banner of Free Jacob Zuma. Now, if Duduzile Zuma's tweets are anything to go by, it certainly is, because she's been posting some of these videos and using that specific hashtag. So we've had the opportunity to very briefly speak to the Police Minister, Bheki Cele, who is here with his troops. Those troops, you'll recall, are the ones that have been deployed to KwaZulu-Natal to deal with the run-up to Jacob Zuma's arrest. They had bolstered the police service around here, particularly around the eNCA area and anywhere else that was seen to be a hotspot for any potential protests. And one of the things that we had been asking was, why has it taken so long, or why in some cases does it seem like police were not acting? And what he had said was that, you know, they had to be quite strategic about this. I'm actually hoping that we can get a word with him. Tulas, if you'll just bear with me. I see the minister is just wrapping up his engagement on the left, and he's making his way here. Minister, if you wouldn't mind joining me. So we were just discussing, I was talking to my colleague Tulas now, and we were engaging around some of these protests we were talking about earlier, particularly the ones that are even leading into Empangeni. What kind of a handle do police have on it, because we are seeing it everywhere today since the morning?
Well, I'm not sure about everywhere. There are a few of them in Durban. I think the major one has been this one at Empangeni. The Mbangeni is unfortunate that you came late, but everybody else came earlier before you. That includes us. That is because 14 trucks here were blocked. What happens is not necessarily the drivers of the truck. There are a group of people, looks like they've been mobilized from different areas to come here. They stop the truck, they take the keys, and they go away. They leave the trucks in the middle of the road. 13 of those people have been arrested. They're in custody as we speak. There were a few ladies, I think 2. We found the keys of these trucks in their pockets as we arrest them and put them there. So those trucks have been moved. But we are also making the way with the companies themselves to give the spare keys, but we are trying to get the capacity of the tow trucks to be able to open the road. The road is open between Mbangeni and Richards Bay. That is going. But as we were coming here to thank these officers that were here, the provincial commissioner and the head of the special forces nationally, they are working to see how long can they keep this extra this extra power that is here, this human resource that is here to help on those particular things.
I just want to talk about that. So we're talking about having these extra police officers here, particularly with the incidents we've been seeing. Is there any confirmation that these incidents, these protests and these disruptions are in fact linked to this campaign in support of the former president?
Well, they are, because there are people that are clearly political activists among those that are arrested.
What will be done to reassure the public? We've seen a lot of people coming forward saying that they are afraid of what they've deemed lawlessness. I mean, we ourselves were there when people were firing guns on the N3, bringing the place to a standstill. How then do you reassure the public that, especially under level 4 as we are now, that the police still has control over these regulations and ensuring that there is no anarchy, so to speak?
Well, I think by now everybody at least will be giving the police some lot of latitude to say there can't be an anarchy in the country. Look, everybody was waiting for a really bad, bloody time come 12 o'clock on that other day. And South African police, I want to repeat this, that thing did not happen because the Holy Ghost came from heaven to work on it. Police worked on the thing from 2 o'clock p.m. The police took over and controlled the situation with the general sitting inside doing whatever was doing in link with the national commissioner and the provincial commissioner. It was workful. I think at least people could say that there are things that the police members of South Africa can do. Even here, as I'm saying, we have moved those people. Some of these areas, yes, we react. It's important that we react in the shortest possible time. Some of them will be there before time. But the members that you see here, they came for specifically the operation that was supposed to be here come that particular hour. Now they are here. Police are negotiating to leave because they're quite an extra personnel to work on these other matters that are flaring up.
So let me just leave you with this, Minister. So I know we've also heard reports of how in some cases where these gatherings are taking place, there are people that are identified, but police may not have intervened at that particular time because of the environment and how volatile it may have been. Is there an assurance then that those people that have been identified, for example, those firing their guns, those that have been blocking the freeway, will they be arrested?
But I've said 13 people have been arrested already.
Above these, Minister. I know you're talking about this incident. I'm talking about the other incidents leading up to this weekend.
13 people have been arrested already here on the spot. This we have explained. Police will arrest you, but they will assess the situation. What will be the resistance, what will be the response might lead us on the bloody situation. Police must always avoid that. But it does not mean that you won't be arrested. For Nkandla, as it happened that particular Sunday, we have opened the cases. We know who are chasing. We are working together with the NPA. Those people are identified. Even yesterday, we are getting the addresses of some of them coming from different areas. That's another thing, by the way, by Nkandla. There were very few local people there. Those people coming from different areas. But people are very generous, giving us information on those matters. Sitting with the provincial commissioner, we've been getting that information. We'll follow those people and we'll have to arrest those people. But if there is no immediate risk, people will be arrested as they were arrested here, they were arrested at KwaDukuza, they were arrested in Iskot Mjezi. So police will forever balance to say, is it now and here or in the shortest future, but to make sure that whenever we do it, to avoid any confrontation.
I can't lose this opportunity to ask you this. What is your view of the disbanded MKMVA and the approach that they've been taking in their support for the former president, basically policing that area that they would, if you don't mind me using that term?
Well, the ANC will have to put their work down. As a member of the ANC, I know they've been disbanded, not once, time and again, them and the council has accepted that. They're supposed to put the committee together. That, remember, we are going, I think, for the 60th birthday of the Umkhonto weSizwe. It's a shame and disgrace that there are people that in the name of this glorious organization, some of us, that includes me, I'm the member of it. I did not join Umkhonto to be this kind of ill-disciplined person to do things when we have always known that Umkhonto weSizwe, even when it was existing, let alone that it has been disbanded, we fall under the direction of the politics of the African National Congress. We cannot go against that. I'm very sure people that are doing that, they know that they're doing something that they're not doing. ANC needs just to put its foot down and make sure that those things come to an end.
Thank you very much for your time, Minister. I appreciate it. Tulis, that parting shot there from the Minister just expressing his views on the MKMVA. As you would have seen outside in Nkandla, they were making sure that they controlled access around the former president's home as well.
All right, thank you for that, Dasen Thatiah. You have been called out by Minister Bheki Cele saying that you were late and everyone was there on time, forgetting, of course, that you were stuck behind some of that disruption that is due to those protests approaching Mpangeni there. But thank you for that. That's eNCA's Dasen Thatiah out in Mpangeni.